Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV and this is Battle for the States, a show where we track elections and their impact very closely. Speaking in Jhabua in Madhya Pradesh today, a state that is all set to vote on Friday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lashed out very strongly at the Congress party, alleging that the party had for decades treated the ST community of the country as just a vote bank, a statistic or an ankada, and systematically exploited them. Tomorrow, he'll also launch a rupees 24,000 crore scheme aimed at the development of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, also called the PVTGs. Remember, both Chhattisgarh and MP that vote on Friday have a significant tribal population, with the census 2011 pegging the ST proportion in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh at 20.1% and 30.6% respectively. In fact, MP has one of the largest tribal populations in the country, with 46 tribes recognized as STs, of which 3 fall under the PVTGs. Speaking at an election rally in Madhya Pradesh last week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had reminded voters that a separate ministry for tribal affairs was first set up during the tenure of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, meanwhile, has promised to eliminate the practice of using the term Vanvasi to refer to forest dwellers and criticized RSS and BJP leaders for using it. The manifestos of both parties have significant focus on tribal issues. The tribal population in Rajasthan is much less, but their spatial concentration gives them considerable influence in a few seats. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the BJP won 31 of the 47 seats reserved for STs in MP and Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan, but in 2018 elections, specifically in MP and Chhattisgarh, it is the ST seats where the BJP fared the worst. So the question we're asking tonight is, will the BJP's poll promises and mega outreach to SC communities improve its tally this time? Will the Congress hold on to its gains in ST seats? Joining me is senior journalist Rashid Kidwai and political analyst Amitabh Tiwari. But first, let's listen to what the Prime Minister had to say today.
कांग्रेस ने हमेशा आदिवासी समाज को केवल वोट बैंक के रूप में ही देखा है, जबकि डबल इंजन सरकार ने हर प्रकार से आदिवासी समाज का जीवन बदलने के लिए निरंतर काम किया। मैं मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ के भी अनेक आदिवासी साथियों से बीते कुछ समय में मिल चुका हूं। हर तरफ कांग्रेस के विरुद्ध घनघोर गुस्सा और भाजपा पर अभूतपूर्व उत्साह दिखाई दे रहा है। जब तक कांग्रेस सत्ता में थी, तब तक आदिवासी क्षेत्रों से, पिछड़े क्षेत्रों से सिर्फ भूखमरी की खबरें आती थी।
Mr. Kidwai and Mr. Tiwari, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Kidwai, I know you've been reporting from the ground. So in 2018 polls in MP, BJP could win only about 16 of the 47 ST reserved seats as compared to the Congress that won about 30. Now that was seen as a reversal of the 2013 results. Now the BJP has been trying very hard to win back the tribal support base. It has welfare programs, be it ration or drinking water programs. It's also been celebrating tribal icons like Tantia Bill or Rani Durgavati, while the Congress is talking about the implementation of the PESA Act, which also is very important. That also will give autonomy to Gram Sabhas. What do you think will work on ground and what won't?
Vasudha, I think you have summed up very well, but the problem is this about, about delivery mechanism and safety and security. See, the crime against tribal women, 83%, and a staggering figure, 83% people goes, kind of scot-free. There are every 1 lakh Adivasis in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. There is a crime rate of roughly about 60, which is much more than, so to say, the, general category. Now, I recognize that this was there even during the Congress rule of Digvijay Singh and Kamal Nath rule of 15 months. But then when you are saying safety and security, Masuda comes very high. I mean, this whole optics. I'm not denying the fact that that we all are very proud that we have a tribal president, etc. But it doesn't work. It works more when you have some kind of economic security and you have a physical security. So the crime against women, crime against tribals is abnormally high in Madhya Pradesh, and that is something that Mr. Modi obviously did not address. But this is a huge cause of concern. The BJP's solid vote bank is with the OBCs, while the Congress solid vote bank in the similar language is with the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So this is the thing. Now both are trying to poach Rahul by this focus on caste census and reservation, and Mr. Modi making a very strong pitch for tribal votes. But I think the success will be far more difficult.
Right. Mr. Tiwari, that's an important point that Rashid is making. But in 2014, post-poll data from 7 states, I was looking at that data now, and these are 7 states with moderate to high tribal populations, and the data reveals that in 4 of them, BJP outperformed the Congress in terms of tribal support. But in 2018, both in MP and Chhattisgarh, the BJP did face a setback in ST-dominated seats. You've done so much crunching on MP and Chhattisgarh data. What does data actually say when it comes to influence of parties on ST seats?
So we have to see both the states differently, MP and Chhattisgarh, and even Rajasthan for that matter. In Chhattisgarh, the ST seats, the Congress has been a stronghold of these ST seats. Even in 2013, when BJP won the state in Chhattisgarh, Congress was leading in the scheduled tribe reserved seats. So it is the Bastar region normally and the northern region where the ST seats are in bulk. It has been a stronghold of the Congress party. It has been its traditional vote bank as well. So in terms of support, it was 45% for Congress and 35% for BJP, the ST support. Now, if we come to Madhya Pradesh, till 2013, BJP was winning a larger number of seats in the ST reserved seats. In 2018, even in Chhattisgarh for that matter, the SC/ST Atrocities Act was a big issue. And that is why the BJP lost heavily in the ST reserved seats, as you've mentioned. But in 2019, BJP won the maximum of the ST and SC reserved seats. So it's a fairly seat-by-seat contest in MP as well as Chhattisgarh. The Ladli Behna Yojana as well as the free ration distribution scheme may likely negate or neutralize some of the crime rate against the SC/ST women, which Rashid ji is speaking about. Remember, in Rajasthan as well, the crimes against the SC and ST, the crime rate is amongst the highest. All these states have crime rate against the SC/ST phenomenally high in that sense, but it's going to be a seat-by-seat contest, and the candidates themselves will have to slog hard. And when in a ST reserved seat, conceptually, the STs have no influence because both parties have put up ST candidates. It is the other communities, the upper caste, the OBCs, and the scheduled caste, which ultimately decide who is going to win the ST reserved seats. And we've normally seen that the upper caste or the dominant OBCs tend not to favor very influential or very outgoing ST candidates, and they tend to back candidates who are subdued, who would dance to their tunes, sort of to say.
Right. Mr. Gadwai, that's a very important point that Mr. Tiwari is making, and I'd like to add to this. In 2018 in Madhya Pradesh, Congress won 30 of the 47 reserved seats in the 230-member assembly. One of the reasons then was assumed that this local tribal outfit called Jai Adivasi Yuva Shakti had merged with the Congress just before elections. In that context, how do you see this alliance of BSP with the Gondwana Gantantra Party? And to remind our viewers, this GGP was founded in 1991. It works for the rights of Gond people. So how do you see alliances like this? And even in Chhattisgarh, you have the Hamar Raj or Arvind Netam's party, and these are parties that are saying that they are equally disenchanted with the BJP and the Congress. What does this mean for the political parties that are saying that they are doing the best they can for tribal voters?
Yeah. Vasudha, these, you see, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh are essentially, there are two horse race. There are two prominent political parties, that being BJP and the Congress. So these parties that you are mentioning, they have pockets of influence. Some of their movement has also petered down, and they are also what we say in Uttar Pradesh, they're the vote katwa parties, and they just try to harm, and sometimes they bargain a lot. See, there are also, when it comes to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or even for that matter minorities and all, it's also a bit about emotional connect or lack of it. You may have remember the media had played a big kind of highlighted that issue. There was a thing about a very atrocious act of a person of a, so to say, upper caste urinating at a a tribal in that Vindh region of Madhya Pradesh. Now, of course, there was a lot of action, and Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan was very proactive. But then, it has gone, it's moved away from, so to say, news headlines, etc., and media coverage. But it has made a huge impact on the psyche of, the scheduled tribes. What I'm saying is, incidents like this have a trigger effect, and they really impact elections. In the time to come, you will see. I'm not trying to preempt anything, but I'm saying that incidents like this also play very heavily on the psychology and the voting behavior of particular community.
Right. Mr. Tiwari, what does migration as an issue mean for these districts? Because data also says that migration is very high in some of these tribal-dominated districts. And I was looking at some reports from Bharatpur and Dungarpur side, and most of them are ST-dominated districts. And they say, pass ho gaye to Zindabad or fail ho gaye to Ahmedabad. These kind of things are very clear. And the Prime Minister did talk about migration today. So how, what big concern is migration in tribal-dominated districts?
See, migration is a big issue due to lack of availability of jobs. So if migration is happening, then it does not bode well either for the Shivraj government or for the Bhupesh Baghel government in Chhattisgarh. So what happens is that migration also becomes an issue because these voters who tend to migrate from, let's say, Nimad or Mahakaushal to Rajasthan or Gujarat or Maharashtra, they still have voter IDs in the Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh state. And if these guys don't return back to vote, then it also has an impact on the overall voting turnout. If you see, the turnout in the Bastar region, which is the Naxal affected as well, but the scheduled tribe region as well, is lower than the state average. Right. Similarly, the turnout in Mahakaushal Nimad could be a bit lower than the state average. So what also happens is that the parties organize buses and trains, specifically, Rashid ji would know, to carry these voters from the industrial states to Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh on the day of counting so that they are able to vote. But right. Poverty is a big issue here. Poverty is a big issue here. But it is very, very difficult to read the mind of a tribal voter.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tiwari. Yes, sir. I'm really sorry we're running short of time. We'll continue this discussion. Thank you, Mr. Tiwari. Thank you, Mr. Kidwai, for joining us on that. Thank you very much. 44, that is the number of rebel candidates that have filed nominations in Rajasthan. Remember, the state votes on November 25th, and these rebel candidates are from BJP and from the Congress. Incidentally, there are the same number of rebels from the Congress and the BJP, 22 each. In a tightly contested election that Rajasthan has always been known for, how much impact and influence will these rebel candidates have on the final outcome? That's what we're going to try and understand today. Political analyst Avinash Kalla and my colleague NDTV's consulting editor Mayank Mishra join us tonight. So a look at some of the prominent rebels, Narpat Singh Rajvi, Priyanka Chaudhary, Kailash Meghwal, and some of the prominent BJP rebels in the fray. And when you look at the Congress ones, you also have Birendra Beniwal, Ramlal Meghwal and others. And these are mostly MLAs who have been denied a ticket or asked to contest from a different seat. Mayank, it's quite clear that both the major parties have to contend with rebellion in ranks. That's also understandable because the state is known for fierce anti-incumbency. Explain to us, why does Rajasthan witness such a high rebellion every year, and what is the extent of the dent that they can make?
My reading of data, and I have analyzed data for past 5 elections, tells me that life of an MLA in Rajasthan is very tough, and I will give you examples of that. Chances of him getting re-nominated is very slim. If he gets re-nominated, chances of win are very, very slim, and if he defects to another party, then again chances of re-electing is quite low, and for each I will give you data. In last 5 elections, I have seen that 50 to 100 MLAs don't get renominated, and I am talking about both the parties and all parties, which means one out of 4 to 1 out of 2 don't get renominated. That is pretty high number. Someone who gets renominated, chances of him getting elected again is 40%, which means 4 out of 10 recontesting MLAs get re-elected. And if somebody defects, then chances of him getting re-elected is 20%. So 1 out of 5. So in all cases, we see fierce anti-incumbency at all levels, not just against parties, but against individual candidate also.
Right. So you can also see visuals of Amit Shah doing a roadshow in Jabalpur today. Short while ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a roadshow in Indore. So this is the last leg of campaign in Madhya Pradesh. Going back to our discussion, Mr. Kalla, that's what Mayank was saying is interesting about incumbents. Is it because of the factionalism that we see both in the ranks of the BJP and Congress that you also see the number of rebel candidates going up?
It certainly is. It is, and ever since the last election, the phenomenon of rebellion has gone up. And I'll tell you with the Congress party first. In the last elections, there were close to 18 people who were Congress candidates originally, but they did not get the ticket. They were Gehlot supporters. They contested independently. And this time, they are on the Congress symbol back into picture. So the people who were predominantly in those areas had no other choice but to rebel. So the official candidates moved out. And secondly, BJP, the number of rebellion is surprising this time around. And despite all the efforts being made by the top brass, they could not get those rebellions back into the fold. This is something that has not been associated with the BJP. But when we spoke to some people who were rebels, they said that the party has set a precedent that this time around, in the first list which came out, in which the party experimented a lot with 29 new faces, most of the people who contested independently or on a small regional party or on another party's ticket and made sure that the BJP was pushed down to number 3 or number 4 were given prominence over BJP leaders. So many people in the fray say that fair enough, we did not get a chance this time or symbol. Our ideology remains intact for the BJP, but we will contest and make sure that our vote is counted so that next time around we can be taken in. So this is something which has uniquely happened with the BJP. And last time around, the independents gave a lot of cushion to Ashok Gehlot when the rebellion within the party happened. So this time around, with no particular face in the BJP, many people are fancying their chances as independents, that if in a scenario it's a close contest between the two parties, they can make their head count. So resistance is still there. They want to be there and they want to make sure that they are counted in the end.
Right. So more than resistance, it's also a story of political aspiration. So Mayank, is rebellion unique
Absolutely.
to Rajasthan? And like Mr. Kalla was saying, that it's also a sign that political aspirations are spreading and more people want to join the election fray, and even if denied tickets from the respective parties.
And let me tell you, it is not unique to Rajasthan alone. And I looked at data of swing states. And I looked at data of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Himachal, Uttarakhand, and these are all the states where power changes every 5 years. Mostly, we have seen some exceptions. Kerala was an exception, Tamil Nadu was an exception, but by and large, and Uttarakhand also was an exception. But in most cases, there is a change every 5 years, and we have seen the same situation in Rajasthan also. Tamil Nadu is the only state where chances of a first time winning election is higher than Rajasthan. First time winner means you are contesting for the first time and you replace many incumbents. Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu has 60% first time MLAs, and that has been the average for last 5-6 elections. Uttarakhand has 40% such cases, 40. Himachal is just 35 and Rajasthan is close to 50%, which means nearly 100 of 200 MLAs are newcomers in Rajasthan. Only Tamil Nadu has higher number of fresh faces. With regard to incumbents, Rajasthan once again is second only to Tamil Nadu and higher than Kerala, Himachal, Uttarakhand. So in these two aspects, we see that newcomers are preferred, and in terms of defection, and all these states, all these swing states see a lot of defection, since there is a lot, many candidates are denied tickets, many incumbents are denied ticket, because anti-incumbency remains very high in these states. In terms of electability of income defectors, Rajasthan is on the higher side and all others are on the lower side, which means chances of defector getting elected is quite low in Rajasthan compared to other swing states.
Right. So the newcomers actually have a better chance. That is the sense that I'm getting, right?
Yes.
So, Mr. Kalla, so is rebellion, would you see, is a bigger factor than smaller parties in Rajasthan? And would you say any particular region of Rajasthan being more vulnerable to this phenomenon? And how are parties looking at it? Because I remember both in Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh, rebels did cause a lot of dent for the BJP.
See, when it comes to small parties, Rajasthan doesn't have too many smaller parties. There is only one RLP, that is a homegrown local party. And these defectors then move on to parties like RLP or an Aam Aadmi party this time around, and they get a ticket. Baspa used to be a beneficiary of these tickets. Every time these 6 BSP MLAs who have been a part of the government were coming from Congress, they were predominantly Congress people who would not get a seat there, go to BSP, get elected, come back. So there are smaller pockets like Shekhawati or Udaipur Vati, where you have this guy who comes out with the red dye, Rajendra Singh Guda. That is an area that is susceptible to throw these people. Nagaur and Western Rajasthan again is an area where you have people from RLP who come and get elected. So these are smaller little bits. There is no great party as such. In 2008 election, if I remember it correctly, there were 21 rebels who contested against the BJP, out of which 18 won. And they were the biggest deciding factors between the win and loss of Vasundhara Raje government in 2008. And they all were mostly from the eastern Rajasthan. So every election, these people keep on changing. They depend mostly on caste or a regional powerful leader who has a dominance in that area. If he or she is not getting a representation, then they move. So the 2008 example that I quoted, it was Kirodi Lal Meena, who is now contesting on a BJP ticket from Savai Madhopur. He was not happy with Vasundhara Raje. He broke out and he formed an alliance with late Mr. Sangma. And that party contested close to 23 seats, where 21 were Kirodi Lal's rebel, and they won. Similar was the case with RLP last time. There were 58 candidates who contested, 3 won, and in 23 they were number 3. But all these number 3 seats costed 17 to BJP and 6 to Congress. So they are bigger spoil sport.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kalla, for that wonderful point, and thank you for all those insights. So that was a panel of experts on the kind of dent and impact that rebel candidates can make on the outcomes of results in Rajasthan. Remember, the problem of rebel candidates is a challenge that both BJP and Congress face in the state. That's all the time we have for you in the Battle for States. But before that, let's also see some visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega roadshow in Indore. Remember, this is the last leg of Madhya Pradesh's campaign. The state is all set to vote on Friday. The campaign ends tomorrow. So this is Prime Minister's mega push in Indore. Remember, Indore is also a seat where one of BJP's powerful General Secretaries, Kailash Vijayvargiya, is contesting from. So that is V.D. Sharma along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the car, and he is also the president of BJP in Madhya Pradesh. We also spoke to T.S. Deo, who is the Deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, a short while ago. Let's listen to what he had to say.